You know how it is when you just can't let something go in your mind? And you try to go over it, and you try to reconcile it, justify it, try to work through things and think, okay, well, maybe it was a mistake. Well, you know what? Maybe it wasn't. So I went into the Pima County Sheriff's Department evidence portal. Yeah, that's a mouthful. And I typed in Nancy Guthrie. And I'm going to put here on the screen right now, I'm going to try to blow it up a little bit so you can see it. Do you see it? I think you can. Where it says that the missing endangered adult. Now, I'm going to put some things here now. Okay, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to put some things here. This is for, obviously, Nancy Guthrie. Bless her. So here we go again. I'm going to have to get another one of these pens. For those who like these, I sure love it. It's this kind of micro felt, well, it is a micro felt brush pen. It is so nice, and they glide so well. Guthrie. And my darlings, I got to tell you. Okay, so I went into the or the evidence portal. It shows the missing MEA, missing endangered adult, and the case number is 260210. Whoops, I need to put a 0 in there. Sorry about that. 80. So it is 260201080. Now, this is important because by that, they basically put the date of January 31st. The report filed. Okay, so the report is filed January 31st of 2026. She went to Annie's that night. She went to Tomasa's that night. Is that the night that she was really reported missing? Now here's how these numbers break down, so in the future you'll know. This is basically how it works. It's the 26 is 2026. This 02 is February. The 01, and sorry about that little faux pas there, is the 1st. Now this 080 is some type of sequential incident report number. So we're just going to put a report number. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So that way you can see it. That's what it is. Now, this is why things, I think, are getting so mixed up. Because quite frankly, on May 5th, it was alluded. In fact, I think the Pima County Sheriff's Department posted that the sheriff Nanos responded to the scene the night of the incident, but doesn't say what night. The night of the incident can mean Saturday night during Nancy's disappearance and or Sunday night after she was reported missing. They're two very different timelines. But you see, Nanos responded the night she disappeared is what I'm hearing. And this is just something because from what I understand, Nanos, we're going to put this over here, Nanos entered the house Saturday night. And if he did that, guess what that makes him? That makes him possibly, okay, I have to say possibly, allegedly, he could appear on a witness list if this thing would ever go to trial. Will it? Unless they find somebody to sneak in there, I'm just not so sure. This has not been the official record. However, it's been independently verified. Now, there's another thing. You see, it was also said that allegedly, sort of, kind of, there was someone there from the Bureau Saturday night. What Bureau? Well, the FBI. That was there Saturday night. Why can't I just leave this alone? Well, because who messes up this much? Who messes up this much? When I first heard that, I'm thinking, wait. Because listen, there are some times after midnight, because it's still dark, people say, oh, that happened last night, right? So let's just say after midnight we have January 31st, and then after midnight it becomes February 1st. And then later that day on Sunday, you could say, oh yeah, her phone disconnected from her pacemaker last night. Well, technically it's not last night. It was early this morning, but sometimes we do that. Sometimes people do that. And so I wonder, but here's the thing. Why? Why does the official evidence portal display the report was filed January 31st and they have never fixed it? In fact, you're going to see that it was filed 7 p.m. and that is Arizona time, which is mountain time, my darlings. Why would they leave that? And then the case number appears to be February 1st. Why was that? Why are they screwing up so bad? And the public timeline says Nancy was not reported missing until Sunday, which is February 1st. What does Nanos know? That is my question. What does the no-no know? Does he know enough to know that he doesn't know enough? You know how we always say that it's word salad? Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is getting to the point where I think it's fruit salad because it's getting pretty crazy. And little things like this drive me up a wall because they are supposed to be the professionals here. They're supposed to be the professionals, and I got to tell you something else. When was the first presser held by Nanos? I know you know, it's February 1st. I'm sorry, no. Psych, just checking. It was February 5th. I just looked at this first and said that. You see how people make mistakes? But look, I corrected it, and that's what it's supposed to be. It was February 5th. Now, Nanny says something about being there Saturday. There was one FBI agent, because look, they're trained to be stoic and stand there like statues, mannequins, no pun intended. They are taught to be statues, stoic. They are taught to have no emotions in their face. They could be looking at the worst thing, and these agents are taught not to react through their facial expressions. But yet, there was a Fed agent that stood there and kind of nodded, just a little bit. There were two pressers, and believe me, in this, I'm fairly sure, I'm going to look again, that it was February 5th, and if you look for it, you'll find it. But you look and see, that's what I always do. I'm not going to look at Nanos because, hey, he's an actor. as far as I'm concerned. He should get an Academy Award for this. But I'm looking at the surroundings, and then there's a lady standing off to the side, and she's got either a paper folder or something, a tablet, and I mean a paper tablet, or something. She's standing there watching. And he's got his little arms out, being very expressive like he always is, saying a whole lot of nothing. So the word salad now has evolved into fruit salad because it's getting fruity. It's getting stupid, in my opinion, because here we are, and we have these different things. Now, supposedly, allegedly, May 5th, Nanos came out and did the best he could to correct this. But I'm here to tell you, I don't really believe it. In my opinion, I don't. There is something wrong. Now, I'm going to give you a hypothetical, but first of all, I want to do this. I want to invite you to the first live stream that I will have, and it is at the Still Case, and that's going to be Monday, the 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's New York time. And here's what we're going to do, because we're not going to play around. I'm not going to dance. I might a little, but there's not going to be any. We're going to take one piece of evidence in this particular case. We're not going to go all around. We're going to focus, and I'm going to show you how I pick these things apart. And if the family came to me and said, look, there's something not right, we need your help, what are the first things that I do? And what do I do? I'm going to go all through that. We're going to break it down forensically through an intuitive's eyes, ears, and even nose. And not this Nanos. So let's get the cards, because I'm too curious about this. Here we are back again, my darlings. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe. Liking is really, really important these days. If you don't mind, it gets it out to people who need to know. And also, I will be live this Thursday at 7 p.m. Help, I'm Haunted. That is day after tomorrow. And then Saturday, we go live again, and I'm going to be doing some more things. You're going to see. I can't wait to see you. But right now, here's what we've got. What lies beneath? And I'm going to tell you how I really feel Monday night during our investigation. And I'm going to bring you with me, so you be there with me, okay? And I'm just going to be quite frank. I do a lot of work, and I would love to get that channel monetized. And I'm not asking you for anything but to stay and watch. And the watch hours count. And by that, if I can get enough, I'll get monetized. And that's all I ask. I'm not asking you to send any money. I'm just asking you to watch. And we'll celebrate when I do, because I'm real close. All right, my darlings. I've got the crime and shadow cards. Those are mine that I've made. What lies beneath? And these, the cartomancy. And yes, I am gloveless, because sometimes I just can't stand it, and I have to grab my cards, and I think, well, why not just have you along? I mean, after all, we're family in this, right? We're investigators in this. There are many of you who have been keeping spreadsheets, and you're top of the game, out there doing the Lord's work. This card flew out. What is it? Part of the crime scene. That kind of gives me the creeps a little bit, because it's in the living room with a mirror. Oh, wow. And look at the cup. So that cup on the floor can tell us many things. It's on a document. And it can mean that it's intentionally put there to ruin the document, or the document happened to be in the way of dropping the goblet with whatever drink was in it. But you see, the lights are on, which means someone was home. This happened when someone was home. And look at the mirror. I've never really thought about that before. All right, we're asking the energy to tell us about Nancy Guthrie's case now. And especially, I want to concentrate on who was there Saturday night. We're going to keep looking into this. Who was there Saturday night? Now, this can be a water element sign. This is a gentleman who happens to talk about home a lot. Family, home. I don't know. I can't stand to listen to Nanos, in my opinion, that long to even feel if he's saying anything about this. But amazingly enough, now, I'm not going to point this out too much, but I'm just going to point it out enough that I want you to pay attention to that king's hands. And while sometimes, because I don't look at things like self and deletion and that sort of thing, but that to me, when looking through a crime case, can mean your, how am I going to say this? I'm going to shuffle this deck while I'm thinking. You're self-incriminating. You're self-incriminating. And I have a question. With this investigation, if this is so sloppy, are all of them? Do you know if you go on the PIMA County Sheriff's Department website, there is not one thing. In fact, there's a place for you to search, because the evidence portal is separate. But there's a place for you to search. And I searched Nancy Guthrie, and it said it's powered by Google. Nothing. It said no results, no match. Why is Nancy Guthrie not on their website? That's Bilbo asking the same question. Envy. And you know, that doesn't surprise me, because there's some envy when it comes to the Bureau and to the Sheriff's Department. Not some, look, there's a lot of really good deputies there. And I know most of them are sick about, and I got to tell you this, they probably know more than what they're really willing to even say about the Nancy Guthrie case. There's another one that just dropped out. But I think this push and pull, this tug of war between the feds, the FBI, the Bureau, whatever you want to say, and the sheriff of PIMA County, who has a lot to answer to, there's some problems there, my darlings. There's some problems, and oh boy, look what came out. We went through a time period where this card was falling out so often. This card, I want you to look at, and it really, really rings true for this particular case. This is that last moment where things are normal. That last moment where you're sitting down, you might take your coat off, put it on the back of your chair. You've got a little, maybe a piece of mail, or you're writing in your journal. Got a little piece of bread there, you're going to have a little snack. But you're sitting down, and maybe it is that you're planning out a crime. And you pull back that curtain, and you've got that light there, but you pull back the curtain to see, is anyone coming? Or are you waiting on someone to go? Just remember those last moments of any type of normalcy. Now that's interesting. 2 cards coming out. This is now a female. And this female, this female right now is a real charmer, or so she thinks. But I don't want to say can be a mastermind, and at the same time, she's a little on the gullible side. This would be any type of perhaps earth sign, but I don't want to go by those. This is a card that basically says this woman is just not to be trusted. And then we've got this 8 of spades right there together. And we've got this person here. But this 8 of spades is all about being isolated, lonely, and actually could be in prison. Isn't that exciting? Listen, I'm just going to tell you right now. If you're watching this, I just want you to know that as I have been reading since this past Saturday night for Nancy Guthrie, because sometimes I just like to take a break and read and make sure that I don't get caught up in the noise. You know what I mean? I have been seeing an arrest coming, but it's going to be an arrest that's going to shake somebody. And I think it's going to be an arrest on someone else or for something else. And I'm thinking that it just may be the sheriff, because he kind of has his hands in a little pot. There's some things there that has happened, but I think there's some things that are continuing to happen. And you know what? This feds may just be doing a little investigation of their own. Because I just can't believe things are so quiet without having anything. So that's my opinion. I'm just saying it. And you know it's entertainment purposes only. Outdated, expired, disused, old news, discarded. Yeah, I'm going to say there is some old news. It's not really been discarded about Christopher Nanos getting caught with his hands in the cookie jar and not holding responsibility. We can talk about that. Here's another card, oh boy. You ever hear that song, Digging Up Bones? That's pretty much what people are doing now. They're going in and they're just digging things up. This isn't about Nancy. This is about Sheriff Nanos. And was he there on Saturday night? Digging up the past. Digging up bones. Figuring out what it is. I can't figure out why the family, why Savannah. I mean, you seem to have a head on your shoulders, I want to say. Are you being held back? Why don't you just step in and take control of this? I think you probably could. Why don't you? What's going on? Well, because 3 people are involved. Can she withstand the heat from at least 2 of those people? Listen, I really think that she knows something. It doesn't look like there's a lot of camaraderie with the siblings of Nancy. I mean, the children of Nancy, pardon me. The siblings of Savannah. Oops, pardon me. I just really think that there is a particular knowing. See, sometimes these cards aren't so nice. I'm going to put that there, okay? We know what that meant. I do believe that somebody did that. They messed up. But tell us more about Nanos and when, I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when the gauntlet will be dropping. He will be led. This whole thing is going to, there's some light that is going to be shed on this particular situation. And this is going to lead down a path that nobody has ever thought was even possible. I'm not accusing anyone of anything here on this channel. But what I am asking is that there is more and more looked at because something does not make sense. And especially with this evidence portal. And you know, at one time I was able to find the APS, which is the Adult Protective Services information, and it had the same thing, only it was 5 o'clock on Saturday night, January 31st, and then it was moved. And then it was said that, oh, well, that didn't happen until the following Monday or Tuesday when there was a... Who knows? Who knows who's playing around? But there's some type of pull, and it has to be either somebody owes somebody a favor or there's a political pull there. And you know, I don't get into politics, but I'm just going to tell you that is a messy business. And especially in Arizona, over the past 10 years of politics there, that has been some messy business. This is all about earning the money. How much does Nanos make? He's driving around these cars. He's, you know. But this is all about earned wealth, this 9 of clubs. But it's not about earned, it's the thought that you earn it. It's the thought that these people have earned this money to be involved. And I do believe that there's been money exchange hands to do this to Nancy. Nobody deserves it. But I have seen, and I will tell you, I've seen some things being now taken down, including the ghoul trends, which I have looked for. That's okay. I've got screenshots. That's okay. So it goes to show you when they, you know, even when I have been doing some investigating, it's how you word things to find things out. And that's how I've been finding a lot of things out. It's kind of like that, oopsie. This news outlet reported on it, yeah. And there's fake friends, all right. And those fake friends are right here in this. And when the heat gets too high, you watch people sing. Because you know, there's several arms, pardon me, I hit my thumb. There are several arms of this. It's like a tree. There's several twigs. There's the ransom note twig, and then there's the evidence portal twig, and the sheriff twig, and then the Annie and Tommaso twig, and then the Nancy the Nancy is the tree, and then there's the Savannah twig, Mark Kelly. I mean, I'm not saying anybody did anything. I'm just mentioning, look how many moving parts this case has, and it's so public. So very public. This right here, my darlings, is and look at the full moon, because there was a full moon the night that she was taken. Against her will. Do I really think that she was taken on that particular night during that particular time frame? We'll get into that. But look, this is paperwork, documents. Someone has spilled the ink. What this means is that there is definitely evidence there that is left behind. You know, once you write things down, or once you, I mean, we're living in a digital age. Anybody can find anybody. If we can go halfway across the world and find someone hiding in a cave, and yet you're going to tell me that we can't find Nancy, nor officially Who abducted her? Who is gatekeeping this information? Because I think there's some, okay, I'm going to turn this around because I like, for me, there's only a couple of cards that I use in reverse. This is not one of them. This is the Joker. It's not the real bad Joker, is the one that is colorized. This one is, well, like your cartoon black and white. This is a card that tells us that there are huge secrets. Someone is definitely hiding something. But with this card comes the promise that they will not be hidden long. This big secret is about to be revealed. There we go. The situation is about to explode. The Scheisele is about to pop off and in flames. Well, pardon me for that, but you know. The perpetual is about to hit the fan. And see, we're out of this Mercury retrograde on Thursday, the 23rd. And then, you know, give it a few days for everything to settle back to, and you're going to see, because see, there's a lot of things coming to light. Retrogrades is basically like shifting it to the top. Look at this. A conspiracy for sure. 3 people getting together to conspire to defraud. That's what that is. You can do that in any one case, and they're making a plan. They already have something in mind, but they're finalizing it. And notice how they have to do it in dark, because you never can bring any of these things to the light. It seems like when these things happen, the dark covers you, right? They're sitting there with actual cloaks on their heads. So maybe they can't be recognized. There's one with a beard, imagine. So maybe they can't be recognized. I made these cards a while ago, so long before Nancy's case came to light. You can see that in my previous videos. This card is all about indecision and all about taking a holiday. Who's in town and who isn't? There's something wrong. It is total drama. You see, I do believe that we're kind of we're kind of watching a movie, because people are acting this out. Lights, camera, action. Let the cameras roll. They're trying to gaslight us, and they're trying to allow us to maybe even come to our own conclusions. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? But I'm not of that mindset. You see, with me, it's character integrity, and actions speak louder than words. And what we have on the bottom of this deck is a shadow. That's amazing, because there were shadows in Nancy's house. I didn't see any the last couple of times that I was in there. I believe they left. But that shadow is sometimes what is left behind when the energy doesn't get confused, but energy can remain to loop. And once more, a document. Could that be a plea deal? The Six of Hearts is all about that emotional phase of feeling like you've been dominated. It's being sacrificed, dominated. It's not a good card. Hearts, everybody's like, oh, a heart. Oh, no. Sometimes the hearts can be very horrible and very telling. But it's what the plan was, my darlings. Look, there's a lump sum of money under it. It's what the plan was to dominate Nancy. I'm going to start saying that. To dominate Nancy. Oh, I don't want to do that. I didn't do that. Let's see what's on the bottom. Getting a room. Hotel. Okay, so this means that someone has felt like they've had to be displaced, get away from where it was that they made this deal to begin with. Going on. And basically it says for business or for pleasure, but listen, this is mainly for business. There is look at the sheriff's star. Justice is just right around the corner. And another person. I wondered if there was another person around. Maybe it is Derek. And depression. Someone is about to go through a depressive period, and you're going to see. And I've always said, watch those, because when involved in something that they shouldn't be, as in, i.e., a crime, or associated with a crime, you start being haunted, and your looks can change, because that type of mindset can really, really haunt you. Are we going to see more? Yes. Will I continue to bring you more as I think about it and I find everything? Yes, absolutely I will. We have to ask questions. In this case and in other cases, because it's not like the old horse and buggy days where you just have a few handful of people that are just going to decide. The court of public opinion is a thing. And we're going to see what happens now as time goes on with this Nancy Guthrie case. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.